Please, I'm recording. So if you have any displays which are not pleasant for our visuals, kindly turn your video off before it captures it. So like I was saying, any HR experts that sits in the office of a multinational enterprise has the vision or the goal of forging out HR policies and practices that can survive the management of human resources beyond geographical borders. So essentially, they are thinking about the survival and the performance of employees beyond single countries. And this is particularly important because the world, as we know now, has become a global village. Tastes and preferences of customers have converged. With the development of internet and fast-paced technologies, you can now be in Ghana, but be trading with partners in other parts of the globe. And so companies that are able to expand their frontiers and their operations and go ahead to set up subsidiaries in other countries will also need HR experts that can facilitate the management of employees in such contexts. So it is necessary that international HR experts also try to understand the trade and commerce which transcends their geographical borders. So issues for like labor laws, they must be privy to them, how it applies in possible jurisdictions where they are likely to set up their subsidiaries. Issues about the way indigenes behave across the globe. In other words, cultural sensitivity. So all these things have brought up the need for international HRM so that they will bring their expertise on board to manage employees and also assist their multinational enterprises achieve their strategic imperative, that is, being a global giant. And because the world has now become a global village and customers' tastes and preferences have converged, goods and services can now be produced in bulk or in parts, depending on the strategy you are using. There has also cropped up a lot of cross-border mergers and acquisitions, a lot of joint ventures. This is investors even come together to buy franchise of global enterprises and then set up such companies in their own jurisdiction. So in order to manage the human resources in some of these arrangements and also maintain the standards as it occurs at the headquarters, it is important for HRM to be given an international dimension. Now, one aspect of international strategy that has been relatively well studied involves the international orientation of senior executives. And so when I talk about the international orientation, I'm referring to the worldview or the theory which informs how senior executives that have a seat in these multinational enterprises decides to manage the HR component of their organizations. So essentially, I'm talking about the theories that can be used to analyze international HRM and how it can be practiced. And these theories were put forth by Perlmutter. Can you see the name here? Perlmutter. And he is of the view that irrespective of how you analyze the practice of HRM in multinational enterprises, they can be discerned from four main perspectives or four main theoretical wavelengths. These include ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric, and geocentric. Now, another name for ethnocentric is ethnocentrism. So if in the course of your reading, you come across ethnocentrism school of thought or ethnocentrism theory, it is the same as this ethnocentric I have here. If you come across polycentrism or polycentric school of thought, it's the same as what I have over here. Sheila and Ejapon, mute your microphones. Sheila, mute your microphone. So we will be looking at them shortly. And please pay keen attention because in the course of the semester, every HR practice that I pick, we will be applying and analyzing them from these perspectives. For instance, when it comes to recruitment and selection, the implication of ethnocentrism will mean that everything will have to be prescribed and dictated from the headquarters. When it comes to training and development, the theory of ethnocentrism will mean that the trainers must be brought from the headquarters or the parent country, and so on and so forth. So you need to pay attention to understand the worldview of these theoretical schools of thought. So let's pick the first one, ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism. So what's ethnocentrism then? When we say someone is ethnocentric, have you heard it before? Speak to me. Have you heard it before? Who has heard it before? Ethnocentrism. Who has heard it before? Yeah, Alice. Alice, go on. Alice, you can speak. Okay, who else? Who has heard of ethnocentrism before? Okay, let me ask the question this way. Is it the first time? Chumesi Ankara.
Say.
Go on, Chumesi.
Okay, so in my own terms, ethnocentrism.
Chumesi, go on.
Okay, in my own terms, ethnocentrism simply means, let's say, one's evaluation to its culture, which the person would see other cultures as inferior to his culture.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, Alice, do you also want to add up?
So yes, it's like people who discriminate. Let's say we are in an organization and I'm an Ashanti and the other person is an Ewe. It's like, because I'm an Ashanti, I have some critics about Ewes. So when you talk of ethnicity, it talks about someone who discriminates or someone who is always into ethnics or culture. different culture.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other who also wants to make a contribution?
Sir, please.
Patricia.
It looks more at ethnicity.
Okay.
The variations between different ethnic groups. That is what it looks more at, or
Okay.
it's based on.
Okay, thank you very much for your submissions. So you are all right. Essentially, ethnocentrism or ethnocentric school of thoughts, theoretical perspective, originates from the normal ethnocentric biases that we are familiar with. So ethnocentrism as a theoretical perspective also underscores or subscribes to the worldview or the notion that there is a particular cultural attitude which is superior to other cultural attitude. In other words, it is premised on the presumption that a particular cultural attitude is superior to that of others. So if this is the style of thinking of a senior executive, in other words, if this is the style of thinking of a multinational enterprise, then it implies that they will be operating under the presumption that the country or region where the multinational enterprise is originating from has a superior way of conducting commerce. And this superiority has to be imposed upon all other subsidiaries where they set up an enterprise. But should they make a motive say? You started at the China, no. So I'm saying that ethnocentrism is a cultural attitude marked by the tendency for one to appraise their ways of doing things, their culture, as superior or the best compared to other ways of doing things. And I'm also continuing that if a multinational enterprise is fueled or their style of thinking, their worldview is underpinned by ethnocentrism, then it essentially means that they superimpose their ways of doing things, which is cardinally deduced from the parent country or the country where the headquarters is located. They superimpose it on all other jurisdictions where they set up subsidiaries. So let's use an example. If you pick a company like Aker Energy, those in the oil and gas industry may be familiar with this. Its headquarters is located in Norway. So it's actually a Norwegian multinational enterprise, which is currently into the exploitation and the management of oil and gas. So when we say Aker Energy has an ethnocentric, or they operate with the ethnocentrism perspective, it simply means that they believe the Norwegian way of managing employees to achieve organizational imperatives is superior to that of all other subsidiaries where they will be setting up. So this means that even when they set up a subsidiary in Ghana, like they have in Ghana, the way employees are managed will be dictated by Aker Energy in Norway. Is it clear now?
Sir, please go over again.
Okay, Patricia, but I can see one hand up. Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie Esabel.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, like the explanation you are giving. So, do we say like this Indian people, Malcolm? Can we use them as an example?
Yeah, we can use Malcolm as an example. So if you pick Malcolm is also, it was actually started by these Indian magnates. Okay. And when we say they are using the ethnocentrism perspective to manage human resources in the company of Malcolm, it means that they are superimposing the Indian way of managing employees in Ghana. And what is the Indian way? So when we get to the cultural aspect, we will analyze some of these cultural nuances, because when you go to India, for instance, they revere certain animate and inanimate objects. A cattle, for instance, is construed as a god over there. So they wouldn't want, if they are superimposing their practices in Ghana, then they wouldn't want to engage in any activity that has to do with cattle. They will want to actually elevate or revere the treatment of cattle in the jurisdiction of Ghana. That will be an ethnocentrism perspective. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Still with Malcolm, no? One cultural attribute of Indians is that, so for instance, in India, if you are a man and you are sitting across a woman and you cross your leg, it communicates something. The communication one can decode from that in an Indian context is that you are trying to initiate a sexual intercourse. In India, that is how they culturally interpret it. So if you are not culturally sensitive to some of these things and you are in Ghana, you sit before your boss, who is an Indian, and you, particularly a lady, and you do that, it may be communicating something wrongly. But this same style of sitting, that is crossing of leg, if you go to a place like US, UK, it presumes that you are very much confident and comfortable about what you are doing. So that is where the issue of ethnocentrism comes from. But linking it to HRM, when it comes to recruitment and selection, I'm using recruitment and selection as an example. Because a particular company may subscribe to ethnocentrism, you will realize that majority of their strategic positions will be occupied by people from the headquarters, and I say the parent company. If you say Malcolm is practicing ethnocentrism, all the gurus over there are occupied by people from India. Now, the less prestigious positions or less strategic positions will now be left for the indigents. And even when it comes to recruiting of people into such companies, you will realize that it will be done by these foreign indigents. So that is a classic example of ethnocentrism. Please, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, started to check now. Now let's quickly look at polycentrism. Polycentrism. And polycentrism comes from the word poly, which means more than one. So when we say a multinational enterprise has a polycentric theoretical orientation, it essentially implies that they are operating with a cultural attitude marked by the tendency to respect others' ways of doing things. I would say, yes, poly. So it means that they are very much culturally receptive to the extent that if their way of conducting business their way of conducting business to achieve their strategic objectives can also be done differently outside their cultural diktats, then they are very much receptive towards it. So that is the polycentrism. And the implication of polycentrism is that multinational enterprises which adopts it try to be less authoritarian. In other words, they do not impose their HR policies and practices from the headquarters to that of the subsidiaries. Rather, they allow locals or the indigenes that are in the subsidiary level to also come up and forge HR policies and practices that can fit that context. In the same vein, such policies and practices must be derived from what is done at the headquarters. Is it clear?
So please go over.
Okay, polycentrism. When we say a multinational enterprise has a polycentric theoretical orientation, it simply means that such enterprise is culturally sensitive, and they believe that beyond the parent country's ways of managing human resources to achieve an objective, other countries may also have equally good ways of managing human resources to achieve a particular objective. And for that reason, they are not in a haste to impose the HR policies and practices which maintain in the headquarters on the subsidiary companies. Rather, they are willing to accommodate some variations in these HR policies and practices by giving the local nationals an opportunity for them to forge out something that can fit in their context. Collins Edem, your microphone is on and it is distracting us. Collins Edem. Is it clear now? Polycentrism.
Yes, sir, please, if I understand. Per what you've said, it means that they look at other ways of doing or practicing their culture.
Okay.
Let's say with the Melcom. So they look at ways of how it is done, let's say in India, and find ways of doing it in Ghana, where Ghanaian people will be okay with it, although it's almost the same as theirs.
Precisely so.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Precisely so. Now, a distinction can be made between polycentrism and regiocentrism. Oftentimes, when we are talking about polycentrism, it construes as the multinational enterprise may be located in maybe 2 or 3 jurisdictions. So if you pick Ake Energy, it is located, the headquarters is in Norway, and they have a subsidiary in Ghana. So only 2 places. So in the strict sense of it, when we say Aker Energy is practicing polycentrism, it will make sense because they are located in few places. But in regiocentrism, the practice of the worldview or the theoretical analysis is clustered around a geographical area. And if you say geographical area, we can break, for instance, Africa into 8 subregions. You may have the West African subregion, you may have the East African subregion, the Southern African subregion, and the Northern African subregion. So if HR policies and practices are commonly practiced within regional clusters, as I mentioned, then we are talking about regiocentrism. So regiocentrism is like the polycentrism, except that that one can be identified or it can be relegated to a particular geographical area. The same can be said about multinational enterprises that are clustered maybe within the European sub-region of the world's continent. So if HR policies and practices of a particular multinational enterprise is said to be regiocentric, it means that perhaps they are only found within the European continent or the African continent, the Asian continent, and so on and so forth. Please, is it clear?
No, sir.
It's not clear. Oh.
Guru was doing well again.
Okay. So, but you understood the polycentrism. Polycentrism means that the multinational enterprise allows room for other cultural and other ways of practicing HRM to be done in addition to that of the headquarters. So that is essentially polycentrism. But in regiocentrism, we are expanding it beyond maybe just 2 countries to about the entirety of the African sub-region. Into a company like which one crowd will be a rich? MTN. Let's take MTN. How many countries are MTN operating? Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So how many countries? I know Ghana, Nigeria. In fact, I am not sure if MTN is operating outside of Africa. Are they?
Sir, I can't really tell. I also know of Ghana and Nigeria.
Ghana, Nigeria, and I think they are also in South Africa. So
Cote
MTN, Cote d'Ivoire, good. So, and when we say the HR policies and practices of MTN, it tails after regiocentrism. It means that they are practicing certain policies and practices which can be confined to a particular geographical region. And these geographical regions are the places I mentioned: Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, South Africa, and it ends there. So they are polycentric, except that they are, in terms of their coverage, they are larger or they have a wider coverage than that of polycentrism. Is it clear now? An answer still ain't clear. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, please, it's clear.
Yes, sir. So I mean, where
So, if you can go over again, sir.
Hey, Stephen Tete, what's your name or this? Okay, what am I about? So, what I'm trying to say is that when we say the theoretical orientation of a multinational enterprise is regiocentrism, it indicates that such an enterprise is culturally receptive in the sense that they believe their way of managing human resources is not superior to that of other countries, but their operations is clustered within a particular geographical area. And this geographical area usually transcends or go beyond that of polycentrism. So the geographical area could be maybe the West African sub-region, where we can liken it to MTN, because MTN's HR policy and practices can be traced within only the West African, within the African sub-region. Now, if you pick a company like Coca-Cola, then you will be thinking about what? The globe. Oh no. So once you restrict it to a particular geographical region, be it the African continent, the Asian continent, and you have this multinational enterprise dotted within that continent, then we are talking about regiocentrism. So usually they have more than one subsidiary to be construed as a regiocentric approach. And you must also be located within a particular geographical region that has some commonalities or homogeneity. Is it clear now? Now, so just like the polycentrism, yes.
Yeah. So please, so can we say with the regiocentrism, it is like more geographically expanded than the polycentrism?
Precisely so. So in terms of geographical coverage, regiocentric has a wider landmass than polycentric. Any other question?
Does it mean that once as it is expanded, it means it will adopt the culture of that region too?
Precisely. So if you take a multinational enterprise like so let me use this as an example. If you take a for company, okay, that example, if you take KFC and so on and so forth, Nestle will be a global one. It wouldn't fit a region because Nestle is globally established. Unilever too will be globally established. And the reason why it's quite difficult to be pinpointing these regiocentric companies is that the moment they start getting customers from other geographical regions, then they set up subsidiaries over there, or the people get franchise of it. So a company like Coca-Cola, no, Guinness, for instance, it started, initially it was within the European sub-region. It actually originated from Ireland. If you try to read the history, it started from Ireland and it was expanded to other parts of the British enclave. Then gradually it expanded to the European continent. So at that dispensation, you could construe it as a regiocentric. But now we have Guinness Ghana Limited, okay? And when you come to Ghana, the sort of beverages that they serve in Ghana, maybe that's different from even Nigeria, in terms of the size of the bottles and so on and so forth. So that is why it is quite difficult to be pinpointing the regional one, because they're transitioning between regional and the global ones is very, very fast. I saw a hand up. Who was trying to ask a question? Any question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Alice.
Sir, please, with the regiocentric, I wanted to know that the which is, let's take MTN for instance, it originated from Nigeria and they expanded their branches to Ghana. So I want to know that with their decision making or strategic plan, affect the one they are using in Nigeria, is it the same thing they are using here, or they can decide on their own in terms of decision making and then strategy and structure and other things?
Very good. Thank you very much for this question. If we say in the strict sense of it, MTN as a brand is practicing, or their theoretical orientation is regiocentric, then it means that the subsidiary in Ghana or in South Africa or in Ivory Coast will have a relatively autonomous HR policies and practices, but they will deduce these from what maintains in Nigeria. If we say they are using ethnocentric approach, then it means that the HR policies and practices which maintain in Nigeria will be implemented dito in Ghana. And it is often the ethnocentric ones that always meet challenges, because particularly if there is wide variation in terms of culture, in terms of labor law, then a lot of things will be crashing. Please, is your question answered? So it depends on the theoretical orientation you are using to analyze a particular company. Is it clear?
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
So which means that I can set up a case study, and in that case study, I will be throwing in the ingredients of, for instance, ethnocentrism, whereby HR policies and practices in the parent country or in the headquarters is rigidly practiced across the globe. And your job will be to look out for some of these clues in order to diagnose why maybe the company may be having challenges or not. And these will become clear when we start linking them to the specific practices, okay? Any question?
Sir.
Yeah, hello. Patricia, go on.
So please, with what you are saying right now, with regards to the MTN, Alice asked, then it means that as it originated from Nigeria, when it comes to Ghana, they try to maintain the same standard as Nigeria, but then they reshape certain things to make it suit the taste of Ghanaians.
Precisely. Is that the case? So. Precisely so.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
And another thing is that one reason why some multinational enterprises, especially when they are clustered within a particular geographical region, decides to practice regiocentrism, is that there isn't much variation in terms of culture and tastes and preferences of people within that particular geographical region. So because of that, when you tweak it a little bit, as you move to a particular region, then you are able to achieve the objective that maybe the headquarters is also trying to drive towards. Okay. Now, so let's look at the last one. Geocentrism. The previous one was regio, which is regional. The geocentrism escalates it to the global level. So when we say a multinational enterprise has a geocentric worldview, it essentially means that their orientation towards the management of human resources in the multinational enterprise should take that of a global lens or a geocentric mindset, which means that at this dispensation, the multinational enterprise has grown beyond the home country or the place where the headquarters originates. And they have also practiced across the length and breadth of the world in different countries, different jurisdictions. And so they become very much receptive. Now, the open mindset, which is over here, or the geocentric mindset over here, means that they come to a point of realization that whether you are an African, an Asian, or an American, and you have the right aptitude, the right knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform a particular task, irrespective of your cultural orientation, once you are given the opportunity, you will succeed. So geocentrism essentially means that such multinational enterprises are marked by a cultural attitude, which is extremely receptive to other ways of managing human resources. So, typical example, if you go to Guinness Ghana Limited, Guinness Breweries, their Ghana subsidiary, you realize that from the topmost position to the security man, you are not likely to find an expert over there managing it. Everything will be done by Ghanaians. Now, if you go to a place like Unilever Ghana Limited, that place too, you are likely to find all the workforce in there being Ghanaians. But it is a global company, and they have come to a realization that when you give Ghanaians that have what it takes to perform, the opportunity to work in a multinational enterprise, they will excel as their compatriots located in Ireland or any other place. Is it clear? So geocentrism simply means that the company has reached a point in their operation where they have footprints across the globe. And wherever they go, they give opportunity to the local indigenes to also bring fresh ideas on board that can be used to manage human resources. And beyond the Department of HRM, when it comes to even operations and so on and so forth, they also give opportunity to the local indigenes. So essentially, geocentrism grants a lot of autonomy to the practice of HR policies and programs across the globe. The subsidiary, they give the autonomy to the subsidiary when it comes to the practicing of these HR policies and practices. Any question on geocentrism? So typical examples of geocentric companies that use geocentrism will be Guinness Ghana, Unilever, Coca-Cola, in fact, Anglo Gold. Okay. But for Anglo Gold, let's put a asterisk on it. Because when it comes to the extractive industry, some still maintain the ethnocentric strategy. Okay. Any questions so far?
Sir.
Uh-huh.
So please, if I understand the geocentric, then it means that unlike the ethnocentric, where they try to bring exactly what they do at the headquarters to where the new region, geocentric allows people from that region who are capable to help them develop the business, or the word is not even coming.
To help them manage affairs over there.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to, because we are doing HRM, when it comes to, for instance, recruitment and selection, when you apply it to geocentrism, Unilever will not bring people from England or UK to come and recruit people in Ghana. They will relegate that, they will delegate it to their directors and the HR managers in Ghana to do that. When it comes to training and development, when we say Unilever is using geocentrism, it means that they are not going to bring trainers from Britain to come and train their employees in Ghana. Rather, they will give it to equally capable people, either in-house, or they may outsource it to a company in Ghana to do the training for them. Essentially because they believe such capable people understand the Ghanaian terrain proper, and they can actually connect well in imparting the knowledge that they want their workforce to have. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So usually companies that have polycentric, regiocentric, and geocentric orientation, when they are hiring, they look out for individuals that are associated with international bodies. So if, for instance, we are looking for an accounting person, and you are a member of ACCA, you are a chartered accountant, ACCA, they may put you over and above an individual who has CA, because they see the ACCA person as someone who has familiarized himself with the practice of accounting globally.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Now let's make progress. So from the preceding discourse, it can be deduced that international human resource management is a discipline. It is the study and application of all HRM activities as they impact the process of managing human resources in enterprises in the global landscape. So essentially, when we say international HRM, we are trying to say the practice of human resource management in a global dispensation, usually a multinational enterprise, so that these human resources can survive their activities on the global landscape. Armstrong also described it as the process of managing people across international boundaries by multinational companies. So any form of HR policies and practices that ensue in multinational enterprise can be construed as what? International HRM. And this indicates that, particularly from my explanation of the theoretical perspective, it means we can have three categories of employees that fall under the umbrella of international HRM. There can be three categories of employees that fall under the realms of international HRM. And what are these employees? They include parent country nationals, host country nationals, third country nationals. Please pay keen attention to these three types of categories of employees, because in our subsequent lectures, if I say parent country national, I will not be explaining it again. And in my experience too, when students are examined on them, they tend to be interchanging their explanations. So a parent country national is a parent country national. The moment you construe it as a host country national, it will never be accepted. Okay, so pay keen attention as I explain them. So who is a parent country national? A parent country national, or an employee who is characterized as a parent country national, simply comes from the country where the multinational enterprise has its headquarters located. Multinational enterprise, baby, and the headquarters, all the employees that are found over there can be called parent country nationals. Let me go back to the examples that I gave earlier on. If you pick Unilever, Unilever is a multinational enterprise. The headquarters is located in Britain. Initially, it was actually having two headquarters, one in Britain, one in Netherlands, that is Rotterdam. But the Dutch component of it, which is the Netherlands component, was later on sold. And so they lost the headquarters over there. So as we speak now, the headquarters of Unilever is in Britain, which means that all the employees of Unilever that come from Britain can be construed as what? Parent country nationals. Another example, AngloGold Ashanti currently has its headquarters in South Africa, even though it is located across 4 continents. So they have operations in Africa, Europe, Australia, and in America. But their headquarters is in South Africa. So all the South Africans that are working in AngloGold Ashanti can be construed as what? Parent country nationals. If you are a Ghanaian and you are working in AngloGold Ashanti, you are not a parent country national because you don't come from South Africa. Let me also use Aker Energy. Aker Energy is a Norwegian company, and they have their headquarters in Norway. So all the employees of Aker Energy that come from Norway can be characterized as parent country nationals. Another example, Guinness is also a multinational enterprise that has its headquarters in Ireland, precisely Dublin. And all the employees of Guinness that come from Ireland can be characterized as what? Parent country national, because they are coming from the country where the headquarters is located. So if you are a Ghanaian and you are working in Guinness Ghana breweries, you are not a parent country national, but you are a different category of employee, which I will come to later on. Please, is the explanation for parent country nationals clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have a question? Okay, so let's make progress.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
So it means for the parent country national, it doesn't necessarily country where the headquarters is, but when you are an employer, like when you are an employer for the headquarters, the country where the headquarters is located.
Let me see. Is that Stephanie?
Yes, sir.
Please, your line was breaking now, so repeat your question again. Repeat your question again.
The parent country national. It's linked to the employers, not necessarily that you come from that country.
No, it is linked to the country where the headquarters is located.
You see, some people come from, let's say, like an example. Let's say Guinness Ghana's headquarters is in Ghana.
Okay.
And I work there. Okay. Me working there fall under this category, parent country. But
Tobo. So let me explain something here. I want to say company BR start here. They start from they start from a humble beginning. So Guinness originally, if you read the history of Guinness, and I'm not sure if you are familiar with Arthur Guinness. Guinness is a company that was originally incorporated in Ireland. In fact, initially they were calling it, the company's name was what they called St. James Gate Brewery. It was a small brewery company in Ireland. And with time, it expanded. They expanded to other parts of United Kingdom, to other parts of Europe, and now it is operating across the globe. So because it started, or it originated from Ireland, that is where their headquarters is located. And I'm saying that any employee who comes from Ireland working in Guinness company can be called a parent country national, because such employees come from a place where the company was originally incorporated, where it started from. Stephanie, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Patricia Amwa.
Sir, please, if I understand, then it means that these are employees found in the country of origin of the business.
Okay, so it depends. So later on, when I start also explaining who an expatriate, who an impatriate, who a repatriate is, you realize that a parent country national may not necessarily be working in the headquarters, but they may be working in a subsidiary as maybe a supervisor over there. So once you are a national, from the country where the headquarters is located or where the company is headquartered, then you are a parent country national. Into we are Ghana, now we are Guinness, Guinness Brewery Limited. You are a host country national because you are working in a subsidiary of the multinational enterprise. I would say Guinness Ghana. So Guinness Ghana is actually replicating the activities of Guinness Brewery, the global firm. Inti Guinness Ghana has a na yafa Ghana for more years more. the Ghanaians over there can be characterized as host country nationals. But if we have someone from Ireland who is an operations manager in Ghana, that person will be a parent country national. And for that matter, the person will be treated as an expatriate. But I don't want to bring the expatriation and winning at this level. Yes, I'm not confusion about please, is the host country national clear? Or I should give more examples?
Sir. So please, I wanted to know with what Stephanie was asking. Okay. Assuming my parents are Ghanaians, and then I was born in Ireland where Guinness started from, and now I work there. Okay. Am I a parent country national or am a host country national? Because I was born there.
You were born where?
At where the country of origin of the business.
So,
but my parents are Ghanaians.
So that one, it becomes a little bit complicated. Depending on your citizenship over there, if you are a Ghanaian and you are hired over there, then you will not be treated as a parent country national because you are not an Irish person. What do I say? But if you, you now have citizenship to document that you have rescind your Ghanaian citizenship and you are, or maybe you are having a dual citizenship and so you are also having their, I can't say citizenship, then you can be construed as a parent country national.
Okay, sir.
But host country one, is it clear? So let me give more examples.
Please go over again.
Okay, so when we say someone is a host country national, it means that we are referring to employees that are originating from the country where the subsidiaries of the multinational enterprises are located. In my example, me say Anglo Gold Ashanti, okay, the headquarters is located in South Africa. But they also have subsidiary in Ghana, a subsidiary in Australia, a subsidiary in your friend is saying in some parts of even Europe. So the Ghanaians that are working in Anglo Gold Ashanti will be characterized as host country nationals because they come from a country where the subsidiary is based. Another example, Coca-Cola is a multinational company, but they have a bottling brewery company in Ghana. Okay, so the Ghanaians that are working in Coca-Cola Ghana can be also related to host country nationals because these are employees that come from a country that is Ghana, where a subsidiary of Coca-Cola company is located. Another example, a Ghanaian working in Aker Energy, which is an oil and gas multinational enterprise, or a Ghanaian working in Talo can also be called a host country national, simply because Talo Energy and Aker Energy are operating their subsidiaries or a subsidiary aspect of the multinational enterprise in Ghana. So all those Ghanaians working over there are what? Host country nationals. Yes, Patricia.
Sir, please, not going far. So, like, we can, with an example like the MTN, where it originated from Nigeria. If a Nigerian person is brought to Ghana to work in an MTN office in Ghana, that person is a parent country national.
Yes.
But if a Ghanaian is sent to Nigeria to work, that person is a host country national.
A host country national, precisely so.
Thank you, sir.
First two, and let's go to the third country national. I want students are a little bit confused. So I will say, yes, MTN has its headquarters in what? Nigeria. So if you are a Nigerian and you are working in this company, you are a parent country national. But if you are a Ghanaian and you are working in Ghana, you are a host country national. There is also the possibility that you will have someone from maybe UK working in MTN Ghana, or you will have someone from India working in MTN Ghana. Because these employees neither originate from the country where the headquarters is located, or they are also non-nationals of the place where the subsidiary is located. We call them third country nationals. Please, and also say clear.
Yes, sir.
You've done 50% of the semester. Okay, let me ask this question to see whether you are all following. Now, so a Chinese working in Guinness Ghana Limited can be characterized as what type of employee? And why?
Sir, a third country
Third
national.
party.
Okay, why will you characterize such a Chinese as a third country national?
Sir, because a subsidiary in China.
Okay, good.
There is no.
Okay,
They
good.
do not have.
Patricia, it's not like that. Please come again. Patricia, please come again. It means that the person is neither from Ghana or from the headquarters of the organization. So it means that person is a third country national.
National, precisely.
Okay, thank you.
When I'm can come as a full question for you to explain them with examples. So all the examples I'm giving is not for the fun of it. At least for now, you should know Coca-Cola is headquartered in USA. If you have an Australian working in Coca-Cola Ghana, then you should know where you put such an employee. I also said Talo is also headquartered in USA. So if you have an Australian working in Ghana for Talo, then you should know the category of employee that you put such a person. But when it is in a case study form or winner, I will give you the clues, then you know what to do. Japan, Wilson. Wilson,
okay,
Japan.
Sir, please, good morning.
Good morning, Wilson.
Okay, so, please, my question is, with all these three things that you have explained, is it only situated in one particular organization, or it can be like, okay, the person was in Coca-Cola, in, let's say, India, and then now the person is in Ghana, and then let's say he's working in Guinness. Is it possible?
Okay, so the moment you move from one multinational enterprise to the other, then when we are trying to characterize such an employee, we still have to make reference to the citizenship of the employee and where the multinational enterprise is also headquartered. Now, in a particular multinational enterprise, don't forget, I want to say this multinational enterprise, you are dealing with a lot of countries, individual employees from maybe different cultural and country background. So it is possible for you to have a multinational enterprise where you have parent country nationals in it, host country nationals in it, and also third country nationals in it. Into the EMFA, maybe to say Anglo Gold Ashanti, Ghana, the Idua Prim one, or maybe the Obuase one. Over there, no, when you go there, you have some South Africans working in there. So they will be what? The parent country nationals. In fact, you also have Ghanaians, a lot of Ghanaians working there. So they will be what? The host country nationals in the same company. And you are also likely to have some Chinese that are working there. So they will be what? The third country nationals. What was the game, Claire? Wilson, is your question answered?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Sir,
Any other question? Patricia, go on.
Sir, please, assuming with the Chinese example you gave, if Coca-Cola should have a subsidiary in China, and then they bring a Chinese to Ghana
then that,
to work.
So then that Chinese will still be a third country national, but the Chinese will be treated as an expatriate. What's the American say?
Maybe
yeah, the Chinese need free. Yeah, they need free China neba. And I say, on an I'm gonna help in Ejuma na. Yeah, then on Ejuma.
Sir, I didn't free China and buy a company ni be or China.
Very good. So it means that this particular Chinese may be having a particular knowledge base which the Coca-Cola company wants to replicate in Ghana. And so his transitioning from the Coca-Cola company in China to Ghana, he will be treated as a third country national, but specifically an expatriate. Are you clear? And as soon as
let's continue. If not,
because you can't say will be an expatriate. It simply means that the person is working outside his country of origin. But in the example you gave me, it has two main levels. The first level is that we are dealing with an individual who is originating either from the headquarters or the subsidiary level. And the person too has been brought from another company. And that process is what we call expatriation. Some of you still have, who is Abdul Wahab? Melody Atafi. Participating in my class. Amo, is it clear now? So you don't worry, when I start distinguishing who an impatriate, who an expatriate is, all these things will become clear, okay? But for now, let's try and understand the categorizations of the three types of employees that can fall within a multinational enterprise. Japan Wilson, I can still see your hand up. Is it the old one or is it a new one?
Sir, please, this is a new one.
Go on.
While you were explaining, something really popped up, and then I want to get some clarification on this one.
Okay.
So please, the question now again is, let's say somebody has been assigned to certain countries.
Okay.
That has branches.
That has subsidiaries.
Thank you very much. So, so the person travels. Let's say he comes to Ghana, he goes to Togo, and what have you. So, how will you classify such an employee?
Okay, so start your question again so that I will analyze it and break it down. You said the person was before he travels.
The person works in the headquarters.
Okay. But the person, for instance, goes to one subsidiary, then the next day another subsidiary, until. Okay.
Thank you very much. Like in different countries.
Good.
Different countries.
Good. So such a person will still be a parent country national. And usually the multinational enterprises that have the ethnocentric orientations are the ones that practice that style of moving employees, particularly because they believe that particular individual or that specific individual they are moving around has some peculiar knowledge, skills, and abilities that needs to be replicated across all the subsidiary levels. Is it clear? In every jurisdiction, he is a parent country national, all right, but he is also an expatriate over there. When we get to compensation and benefit, he may be doing the same job as maybe a Ghanaian in a friend saying Anglo subsidiary in Ghana. But because he is placed at the category of an expert, they will not be earning the same, even though they are doing the same thing. Okay. Any other question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. Please, I want to know if the person is, let's say, a Lebanese, but he's a Ghanaian by birth. And he's working in Ghana here. How do you classify such a person?
A Lebanese, but Ghana. So, which citizenship does the person subscribe to?
He says he is both.
He says he is both. And no, the complexities no bad. So, under such circumstances, if they think going by their Lebanese citizenship can help them be better off, they usually go by that one. If they think the Ghanaian one will help them, then they go by that nationality. But the moment you have this dual citizenship, then it complicates how we can, how do you call it, characterize you. And on a straightforward side, because of your dual citizenship background.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
That's it. Sir, please.
Wilson.
Just a follow-up. Yeah,
Good.
please, just a follow-up.
Good.
Sir, please, can there be an organization which looks at dual citizenship before probably employing? Let's say you are a Ghanaian American, and can there be an organization that will be like, okay, before we employ you, you have to renounce your citizenship for, let's say, Ghana? Can there be some rules like that in organizations with regards to what we are doing?
In my experience, there is currently what we call talent, like war for talent. In other words, every multinational enterprise always strive that they will get the best talented employees that to be working for them, either at the headquarters or at the subsidiary level. So when they are doing recruitment and selection, they place much premium on the competencies and your knowledge, skills, and abilities, but not necessarily your nationality. The nationality comes in when maybe they will need someone with a particular cultural experience. Maybe you must have lived in Saudi Arabia before you can survive and also be successful over there. That is where the nationality issues comes in. Other than that, much of the premium is on your competencies. Is it clear?
Thank you very much, sir.
Any other question? Hello, Belinda. Belinda Tete, do you want to ask a question? Because your microphone is on.
No, sir, sorry.
Okay, then mute quickly. So let's make progress. You can distinguish between who a parent country national is, host country national, third country national. And they have some abbreviations following them: PCN, ACN, TCN. In fact, I can even bring them and ask you to write their full way for me. Eric Kwadwo Ahemfo.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please, I want you to help me out with this.
Okay.
For instance, if not a company that does not have subsidiaries in different countries.
Okay.
But maybe it is in that, it is in the particular country officer. Then I would like to make this example. A colleague went to school at UK.
Okay.
And then where he's schooling, they intend to employ him over there.
Okay.
And that after his school, they intend to employ him in the school there.
Okay.
So how would we classify
such
that
a
colleague
person?
who is a Ghanaian? Yes.
So we now have to understand that the company does not have subsidiaries, right?
Yes, please. Yes.
So then you cannot put them under any of these three categories, no, because here we are analyzing employees that fall under the dispensation of multinational enterprises. I will not be surprised if employee, they will treat him just as any applicant. They will not treat him as an expatriate. Treat him as they will almost treat UK for one.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Over there, if the entry level for that portfolio, a UK person is paid £1,000 a month. Ghanaian between £1,000. But if this were to be a multinational enterprise, and they want to use these categorizations to remunerate you, then it has its own implication, because if you are an expert, it comes with some additional perks. If you are if you are considered as even repatriating crowns, so it comes with its own compensation and benefit, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question? Okay, so let's make progress. I'm really happy the way you are asking questions. It means that you have grasped the basic rudiments of these three categories of employees. And going in the course of the semester, we will be linking them one by one. If you want the baby who are metro parent country national and our parent country, you should know the sort of people I'm referring to. Okay. So the objectives of International HRM, it is just like that of the normal HRM you are familiar with, except that this one, the focus is on the survival of the multinational enterprises. So essentially, it seeks to attract and retain talented staff into the multinational enterprise. It seeks to attract and retain. And when we say attractor, the company needs to be have a prestige, it has to have a prestigious mark for itself, so that anyone will aspire to work in there. In Ghana has said, "What can you deliver?" If you mention Anglo Gold Ashanti, everyone aspires to work over there, because the sort of arrangement they have for their employees is very much attractive. Now, once these perks are put in place to attract people, then it must also be what maintained so that it will retain them over there. It means that after gaining the employment, it shouldn't be only the things that you saw in the advertisement, but they must actually be practicing them. Say every 3 months you get this particular bonus. Every month you get this X amount of money. Periodically, you will be given an opportunity to go for some sort of training and development programs to align your knowledge base with what maintains in your community of practice. All these things must be seen happening so that it can actually retain you. So that is what multinational enterprises they seek to do as far as IHRM is concerned. Then they also seek to create a local appeal for firms, goods, and services without compromising upon the global identity and quality. And so linking it to the theoretical perspective, what usually happens is that when multinational enterprises decide to go in the strict sense of it, by the ethnocentric strategy, they end up presenting or churning out goods and services which may not even be appealing to the local indigenous. And this is particularly true because you realize such orientations will have people that do not actually understand the cultural expectations and the local tastes and preferences. So IHRM tries to bridge this gap or overcome this by having a way to harness both local and international workforce that can churn out goods and services which are what? Appealing to not only the local community, but also what? The global landscape. And the thirdly, they also seek to generate awareness of cross-cultural sensibility among managers and even the workforce globally and hire staff across geographical boundaries. So if you are going to work in a multinational enterprise, then definitely you will be coming across individuals that have different cultural orientations and expectations. So their behavior and their style of thinking may come to you as a shock. But as much as possible, International HRM try to sensitize people within such companies to be culturally receptive, to understand why others may try to resolve a problem using their own, from their own wavelength or their own spectacle. So it tries to introduce cultural sensitivity, then train on culture and sensitivity of host culture. And this is particularly important when you are preparing people in a multinational enterprise for an international assignment. ABI, you are preparing someone who works in Unilever, Ghana. You are preparing such a person for an assignment in Saudi Arabia. You see, the culture of Ghana and that of Saudi Arabia, the contrast is very, very wide, particularly if you are not a Muslim. A lot of things may come to you as a surprise. So International HRM under such circumstances will adequately train and prepare you towards the certain expectations of your host country, so that when you go there, you will not be experiencing a lot of culture shocks. Now, so what are some of the challenges that the field of International HRM face? The first one is the ability of the HR manager to develop an HR workforce with a global mindset. I want to say, yes, International HRM, we are talking about people working in multinational enterprises. And as a multinational enterprise, you shouldn't be very much myopic about the happenings in only your subsidiary. You must also be what? Wary of what is happening across the globe, so that its ripple effects, before it even gets to you, you'll be ready and prepared for it. So to create a workforce that are equipped and prepared for some of these things in the global landscape is a huge challenge that HR specialists grapple with. Sometimes they even contemplate when it comes to recruitment and selection, what will be the best approach? Do you recruit from the headquarters or do you recruit from the subsidiaries? And if you recruit from the headquarters, what are some of the benefits and drawbacks you are going to get, okay? So to forge around all these things and also emerge as a global giant is not an easy task. Then the second challenge is how to align core HR processes and activities with new requirements of competing globally, while simultaneously responding to local issues and requirements. So multinational enterprises, best practice recommends that they must be thinking globally, but acting locally. And when we say they must be thinking globally, it means that the entire world or the entire landscape of the world must be their test. You must be thinking about how your goods and services can reach the length and breadth of the world. But at the same time, customer tastes and preferences vary as you move across the globe. And HR policies and practices, for instance, labor laws vary as you move across the globe. So you should be able to attain your global superiority, but also modify your HR policies and practices that will suit the expectations of the various subsidiaries that you work with, so that you do not flout labor law regulations. If you go to Norway, for instance, in fact, in the Scandinavian countries, their labor law has a clause on paternity leave. So if your wife or your girlfriend gives birth, you can apply for it and be there for the upbringing of your newborn. But when you come to Ghana, our labor law does not have a categorical clause on paternity leave. It is the various unions of our companies that are advocating for some of these opportunities to also be extended to men to enjoy paternity leave. So, you're a typical Ghanaian and you are running a multinational enterprise, and a Norwegian does not understand why you are giving him or her just 5 days paternity leave. It will be very difficult for you to wrap up your head around. So in order to remain your global superiority and also align yourself with the local issues, you have to understand some of these variations in HR policies and practices. Enhancing global competencies and capabilities within the HR firm. So as much as possible, the global landscape becomes your test, and you should always aspire to replicate best practices that are happening elsewhere in your multinational enterprise. And to attain it is quite difficult because you may not have the requisite technology, you may not even have the requisite workforce with the educational background to achieve it. So most of the oil and gas companies, when they come to Ghana, they are forced to bring experts from abroad because the sort of courses that Ghanaians that specialize in oil and gas industry does is usually in the managerial and how do you call it? the operational component, but not at the engineering side. Okay, and for that reason, the practice of international HRM under such a company will require that you have to scout outside the company, or you may have to train people to get to the level where they can actually perform the specific responsibilities that you want them to do. And that may take quite some time, which is a challenge and a dilemma for an HR person to grapple with. The issue of religiosity is also a huge challenge that the field of international HRM faces, simply because whereas a particular object or animal may be construed as a delicacy in your cultural context, it may be a sacred object. In Indian example, now the Hindus construe cattle as a god, and they actually pray to it or through it to their supreme being. And so if you go to India and you say, oh, you may not live about a week or so over there, because over there it may be construed as a taboo, and there may be no room for you to even explain yourself, because they expect you to know their revered objects and so on and so forth. Okay, so that becomes the responsibility of the international HR to adequately train and culturally sensitize such international assignees before they are even sent to those locations. And so on and so forth. So these are some of the possible challenges that the field of international HRM faces. And there are many. So as you read, I'm sure you even come across interesting ones which may not be readily available over here. And there's also the issue of deployment, getting the right mix of skills. And so that can also be linked to the issue of education. If you don't get the right people and the right mixer, then sending them over there will become quite difficult. Hey, seniors, I'll be with you 1 minute, okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's make progress. Then there's also the issue of barriers to women. In certain cultural contexts, the orientation is that women are not expected to occupy certain positions in an organization. So, it's a Middle Eastern. Even the way women are expected to dress is different from how Europeans or Americans are also expected to dress. The sort of positions that women can occupy in the Middle East is quite limited in terms of the upper echelon of organization. The higher or strategic position is very, very limited. Whereas in other jurisdictions, women are even allowed, they rise up the ladder to become presidents, prime ministers, and so on and so forth. So when a multinational enterprise is moving to cultural contexts where there are limitations on which positions women can occupy or which styles of dressing women can put on and so on and so forth, it becomes quite challenging for them to run their mind around it, because in their orientation, there shouldn't be any barrier to such activities. But in the country where the subsidiary is now being located or operating, such things can also not be compromised. So how do you run around these issues? It's a huge challenge that they grapple with. The issue of language. The issue of language. So the parent company may originally be very much okay with the use of English because that is maybe their official language. But as they move across the globe and they try to also bring on board different workforce, and as they also move across the globe, the presentation of their products and the staffing of their organization will mean that they will have to bring on board people that are multilingual. In other words, people that can not only operate in the headquarters, but can also survive in other jurisdictions where the subsidiaries will be located. So when usually we are preparing people for international assignments, one of the key considerations is your ability to speak the language of the country where you are going into. And if you are not fluent in it, then it means quickly we have to run a language proficiency course for you to help you culturally assimilate and also interact, at least to buy and sell being and also to interact with your colleagues. You shouldn't struggle with it. And I also mentioned the issue of different labor laws. Okay, the labor law of Ghana is different from that of UK, Norway, US, and so on and so forth. And certain provisions may not be in our labor law, but if you go to other countries, it may be there. So as you run a multinational enterprise, do you export the one from the headquarters and then export portions which are not captured in Ghana, or in an attempt to create a level playing field for all your employees, you even bring labor issues which can actually enhance the welfare and the well-being of your employees in Ghana. At the subsidiary level. Those are some of the issues that the international HR manager must also grapple with. So first, you must be familiar with these different labor issues and then how you can apply them accordingly in different political climates. As you move across the globe, you realize that in certain regions or countries, the political climate is very, very volatile or turbulent. And so the management of your human resources over there, even if you give them all the requisite resources, you may not be able to achieve the target that you want as compared to political climates which are very friendly and welcoming and so on and so forth. So essentially, these are some of the challenges, and as you read on, you come across more. Then, so all this while, I have been talking about international HRM or the HR activities that are practiced by multinational enterprises. But how different is it from the HR activities that companies that are bounded within only one country perform? So what are some of the similarities and differences? Now, so you realize that domestic HRM occurs within a single country. When a bit mama an example of a company that is located in only Ghana, so that we can use it to juxtapose a particular international company. Who can give me an example? Hey, are you all there?
Yes, sir.
So I want an example of a company that is located only in Ghana, but not in other parts of Africa or the world.
Sir, Wafakuma Enterprise.
Which one?
Wafakuma Enterprise.
Why Wafakuma?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And
Yes,
where is it located?
Sir, it's located
We need
in
something
Hawaii.
popular, something we are familiar with.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
hot oven bread.
Which one?
Multimedia Ghana.
Multimedia.
Sir,
Okay, yeah,
please, can you
multimedia.
mention something we are all familiar with?
Multimedia will qualify.
I think we are familiar with that.
Yes, multimedia.
Agbeve. Are you familiar with Agbeve?
Say Zoom Lion.
There be a Zoom Lion. They are located in
Yes, sir.
Zimbabwe and Zambia. You know. So Zoom Lion will not qualify.
Almost alone.
Yeah. So Zoom Lion is actually a multinational.
Agbeve will do.
Which one?
Sir, hot oven bread company.
Okay, hot oven bread. Nice, and your share. Ghana corner have baby. So a company like which one? I want to cite it. You are familiar with
Despite company.
Despite company, and will fall under a matrix system. So under the Despite company, they have their need foods, then they have the ones that deals with their beverages, then they have the ones that deals with the media. So Despite will also qualify. So those ones are way. But typically, domestic, when we say a company is practicing domestic HRM, it means that their HR policies and practices are limited within a particular country, and it does not import policies and practices that maintain outside it. And usually such companies are at their germinal or initial stages of growth. It is only when they are able to expand, especially across the country where they are operating, then they start moving into the neighboring countries and so on and so forth. But with international HRM, the practice or the specific HR policies that are adopted is usually done at the international level. So here, when you talk about recruitment and selection, you are thinking about recruiting for multiple subsidiaries. When you talk about training and development, you are also thinking about training policies and practices that can help all your headquarters and other subsidiary levels forge ahead, and so on and so forth. So one is at the national and one is at the international level. And domestic HRM obviously is concerned with managing employees belonging to a single country. So over the Krapaya, the HR manager over there will be managing workforce in Ghana. But international HRM is concerned about managing employees belonging to many nations. So Oko Anglo Ashanti, the Ghana subsidiary, the HR manager over there has experts from South Africa and even Australia. So that is how you can just oppose it. Now, domestic HRM also focuses on managing limited HR activities at the national level. And so it may not be concerned about issues such as expatriation, repatriation, impatration, preparing individuals for international assignment. But international HRM encompasses all those activities. Okay. Now, because the focus of domestic HRM is within a particular country, it is construed as less complicated because you are dealing with the dictates that maintain in only a given geographical environment. But in international HRM, it becomes quite complicated because take the maternity leave example I gave, for instance. Maternity leave differs as you move from one country to the other. And so it becomes quite complicated when you have to be dealing with some of these things. In terms of culture too, you'll be dealing with individuals with several cultural backgrounds. And so it is also necessary for you to navigate around these issues. So essentially, domestic HRM examines the role of national context as a source of differentiation for management of individuals within the firm. But international HRM usually hovers around multinational companies or enterprises and how they are able to forge out HR functions that can be used to recruit, select, reward, motivate, and also manage the performance of their compatriots. Okay, any questions so far? I think I saw a hand up. Let me check. Wilson, Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Go on.
Okay, sir, please, with regards to the domestic human resource management. Yeah. Sir, please, my question is, you are saying that they don't kind of borrow foreign principles.
No, I'm not saying they don't
in
borrow.
Managing employees.
I'm not saying they do not borrow. In right now, all the HR policies and practices that are used, irrespective of your organization, you must have learned one or two from best practices, and these best practices will be coming from elsewhere. But the juxtaposition I'm making over here is that with international HRM, you have a headquarters, and the headquarters have their own HR policies and practices. And that influences the way HR policies and practices are also done at the subsidiary level. But at the domestic level, you do not have that, if you like, blueprints to be expanding or deducing your policies and practices from. So it will have to be generated from the HR manager that will first of all come on board, and then he will also put together policies and practices that can help the company forge ahead. Is it clear? Hello, can you hear me? Hey, hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Any other question? Please, any other question? We still have about 40 minutes or so. Hey, we have about 20 minutes. Okay, if you don't have a question, then I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is international HRM? And this one, I am going to call someone to answer. What is international HRM? Let me see. Millicent, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So what is
Hello.
international HRM?
Sir, please, international HRM refers to the process. Okay, the process of managing people across the international boundaries.
Okay, and these people are managed in what kind of company?
Multinational companies.
Okay, thank you very much. So any bundle of HR policies and practices that are used to manage workforce in a multinational enterprise to help it achieve competitive advantage can be construed as what? International HRM. My next question is, what are the 3 categories of employees that fall within the practice of international HRM? Okay, this one, anyone can answer.
Hello, the parent country national, the host country national, and the third country national.
Okay, so who are the third country nationals?
They are those who neither belong, are born in the headquarters or the parent country national and the host country national.
Okay, so third country nationals are the categories of employees in a multinational enterprise that neither originate from the parent country nor from the subsidiary context. Okay, now my next question is, how many theoretical perspectives can be used to analyze the practice of international HRM?
Okay, there are 4.
Oh, sir.
Okay, good. There are 4. So wait, Mabel. Now, who can explain ethnocentrism or the ethnocentric cultural orientation? So I want someone who has not spoken today to try. There's one guy be American. Is George here? George Amwan?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Hey, Charlie, how far?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So can you help me by explaining ethnocentrism?
Yes, I'll try, sir. So the ethnocentrism, like they see their culture as a superior to other cultures. And they also impose their cultures in all the other cultures, sir.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. In exams, when you are asked to explain the ethnocentric perspective to international HRM, you start by how you said it, but we have to now elevate it and connect it to the practice of HRM. So you should continue by saying that when we say a multinational enterprise is applying the ethnocentric perspective in their HR policies and practices, it simply implies that they believe the HR policies and practices which are being used at the headquarters or the parent country is superior, and for that matter, it has to be replicated across all their subsidiaries. Yes, sir. What kind of when you're full mark? Why?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, who can also explain the polycentrism perspective? Okay, my main another person. Dora Paddy. Dora Paddy Tete. Hey, so Dora is absent today. Okay. Sheila. Yeah, Japan Wilson.
Sir.
Japan Wilson.
Hello, sir. Sir, please, sorry, my line went off, so I have joined again.
Oh, don't worry.
I had wanted to
just
ask a question and then my line.
And so let me finish. I want to interact with you and find out if all that I did you were following. So I'm asking simple questions. So I'll get back to you, okay? What name did I even mention? Sheila.
Yes, sir.
Sheila, were you previously in Koforia campus?
No, please.
Oh, okay. Because there is another Sheila I know over there. Can you try explaining what polycentrism is?
Okay, please, I'll try. Okay, it's a form of an international recruitment where an organization hires local personnel for operation in the host country.
Okay, so we it tells me you understand it. You understand it, but you have limited the error you committed is that you limited it to recruitment.
Okay.
So you can simply say in polycentrism, the multinational enterprise implements HR policies and practices which are beyond the ones that maintain in the headquarters. So the additional subsidiary where they are operating to, they tend to also allow them to come out with their own HR policies and practices. And that is primarily because they believe there may be other equally good ways of managing human resources. Okay. But the moment you start limiting it to specific HR practices, such as recruitment, training, then on the full mark, what you say?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Now,
please, can you go over?
Which one? Is it the polycentrism?
Yes, please.
Okay, so when we say a multinational enterprise has the polycentric orientation, it simply means that they are marked by a cultural attitude that subscribes to the idea that there can be multiple HR policies and practices in addition to that of the headquarters that can still achieve superior performance at the subsidiary level. And some of these things, and I'm just freestyling, I mean, Toronto, baby, you have to take your time to process it. Essentially, whatever is done at the headquarters, they don't see it as the final thing or as superior to that of what can also be implemented at the subsidiary level. Now, who would also like to touch on the regiocentrism? Regiocentrism. Oh, Obin, can you go fast? Hey, let me see the names. How many minutes do we have? About 10 minutes. All right. What's the name? The guy who wanted to ask a question. Wilson, are you there?
Yes.
Hey, your line is breaking.
Please, I just joined.
Do you have a question?
Yes, sir, please.
I thought you wanted to ask a question. Go on.
Okay, so please, my question was like, with regards to the domestic
HRM. Hey, Charlie, your line is breaking. I can hardly hear you.
What if let's say we have a refugee in Ghana, let's say from Cote d'Ivoire.
You have a refugee in
Is it okay
Ghana.
now?
Yeah, go on. So maybe you have a
Hello.
refugee in Ghana, and how do you characterize the person?
Is it okay now?
Yeah, go on. Hello. Okay, Wilson, kindly type your question in the chat box for me, okay? I'll check it up and respond to you accordingly.
Yeah, let's say they are numerous, like see thousands, and they are, let's say, situated in, let's say, the in Ghana here, who wants to say with